humble mud.
When I think of unexpectedly scary levels in otherwise pretty normal first-person shooters, probably the first to come to mind for me is the 343 Guilty Spark and Library sections of Halo Combat Evolved. Horror has never been a stranger to FPSs though. You'll find pockets of scary moments littered throughout the original Doom, for example, as well. But recently, I revisited a game that has lived rent-free in my head for almost 20 years now, that game being none other than Redsteel, a launch title for the Nintendo Wii, and while I never got to finish it back then, I've always had a positive association with that game. It was a Blockbuster rental for me in 2006, and I remember being absolutely baffled at how much hate the game had gotten at the time. Seriously, the disappointment for this one was high. All these years later, I gave it a shot on my actual Nintendo Wii console, finally scratching that 20-year itch to see if it was really that bad, and you know what? Yeah, I understand why it got the hate that it did. Regardless, I actually found a lot of things that I liked about Redsteel, and the part of the game I enjoyed the most is the subject of today's video. We are going to talk about Tetsuo's games, which is genuinely one of the craziest FPS levels I've ever played.
I hope you're not afraid of the dark.
A little backstory first though, dancing around spoilers as much as possible. About midway through the game, you agree to help these elder Yakuza members regain their territories back from an encroaching clan, and you're given the option to infiltrate 4 specific districts of Tokyo in any order that you choose. If you go with the gaming or gambling district, you'll end up walking through this unassuming back alley with skyscrapers overhead. You'll see a guy working on his car, you'll see Sailor Moon, a dude in a suit stopping for a smoke, and a guy sweeping. Pretty mundane stuff, save for the cosplayer guy. But before you start the mission and actually get into the Pachinko Parlor, you're informed over the phone to keep your head on a swivel because the clan is well aware of who you are and the damage that you've been causing them.
You could be in real trouble real fast.
It turns out that was great advice because you're pretty much immediately getting shot at as soon as you walk in. You take out the gang's men and, incidentally, a lot of slot machines. You make your way to the back, take out the guy behind the dragon statue, get on the elevator, find yourself in this really quaint traditional Japanese room, get into a firefight near some aquariums, and I'm sorry, I had to shoot the fish tanks because the environmental destruction in this game is just so awesome. After that, I disarmed the leader of this little group using my Red Dead revolver powers and signaled them to drop their weapons and surrender. Another really sick thing about this game, I made my way through the slidey doors, climb up the ladder, get in a one-on-one sword fight, and eventually I make this dude drop his weapon. So far, this is all typical Redsteel fare. However, when you ask the swordsman you beat for the gang's leader, you're given a phone and Tetsuo himself tells you that if you want to meet him, you're going to have to play his games. Should you accept, you're blindfolded, taken away, and this is where Redsteel really takes a turn.
Welcome to my place, Katsan. I hope you like the decorations. I think you understand the basic rules. Either you conquer the challenges or you die. You see, this is what they call a hunting game. It is the most dangerous game, you see. You are the rabbit, and the hunters are waiting for their shot at you.
Okay, so it turns out the cosplayer guys were actually foreshadowing the strange goings-on that were afoot. They weren't just some quirky set dressing. If you take a look outside, you'll notice that the trees appear to be made of cardboard or something, and even the way the snow is flowing, it looks unnatural, almost like a snow machine or something. Shoot out the window to exit the cabin, and you may even notice that the moon itself was fake. Are we in like a movie set warehouse or something? Walk through the stars painted on the walls, make your way down this hallway, hearing nothing but the sounds of someone laughing and some metal gears that could really use some WD-40. Shoot this barrel to get the boxes out of the way and get a free light show. Walk into the red room to discover a really freaky mannequin that I swear I almost immediately shot at. At least she gives us our sword back.
Easy so far, yes? I think we are ready to get started. And here is where it gets serious, Katsan.
You then almost immediately get into a firefight with the Squid Game hunter guys once you step out into what looks like a set for a ski resort. The chairlifts you see going back and forth are riddled with explosives, and other than the explosions and gunfire, everything here is just so quiet. So much so that you can still hear the laughter of the mannequin and the squeaking of that rusty metal. After taking out the few guys here, you can just calmly make your way down the hill. Everything is eerie though. This is too easy so far, and even Tetsuo seems to be aware of that as he talks to you through his rabbit speakers again.
Impressive. Very impressive indeed. You are one lucky rabbit. I hope you appreciated it on this low level, but you have to see it when I turn things up.
Walk through another red hallway, climb this ladder, and jump through the open latch on the top of this elevator. Again, no one seems to be here as we creep through these corridors except for another freaking mannequin. She gives us some more ammo, which honestly at this point is more foreboding than it is comforting. Nothing to see on the cameras really. Okay, where do we go now? Oh, the vending machine just moved. Okay, just walk through the mannequins, no problem. The floor drops from underneath you suddenly before you can enter the door, and now we're in our first real firefight here, and it can be pretty difficult at times to make out who's just a mannequin and who is actually dangerous. Okay, I made it through, but now I can't see anything. Another rabbit taunting me, some more freaking mannequins. Now, this next sequence, I'm just going to let roll for a bit. This part genuinely gave me chills. I thought those guys were just lights, and so that really freaked me out. Adding to the cacophony of laughter and squeaking metal is now a more horrific and oppressive ambient tone, and these masked no-face guys are popping up out of nowhere. The lighting here, or lack thereof, is so well crafted, and I was moving through here at a snail's pace, all while trying to take these guys out. I actually managed to make one surrender by shooting his weapon, but I assure you that was totally by accident. Once you make your way up to the ladder and finally restore power, you get your first taste of actual music in this level, and of course it's a carnival theme, which is always great in a horror setting.
Brilliant! You switched the power back on. Now, go back to the arena as it's time for the real fun to start.
So I carefully walked through this hallway, trying not to touch any of the explosives, only later to realize that they're just gags. You find a sniper rifle in the ensuing fight, take out the men sniping you one by one who are posted at the top of the ski resort cabin that you came out of earlier, and once the coast is clear, you try to make your way back up the hill, only to realize that the coast isn't clear and the rabbit-themed explosives are raining down on you and they will kill you. On my second attempt, I finally made my way up and got on this penguin-themed chairlift. It takes you to the upper hallways where you'll be met with some more cosplayers to take down, and once you get through that, the music sort of breaks and something weird happens.
Surprise, surprise! Obviously, being in a latex suit is the best sort of camouflage one could dream of when skiing, yes?
So yeah, we are now going into a one-on-one fight with a Super Sentai warrior. I guess we are in a movie production facility after all. While there have been some genuinely freaky moments in this level so far, and I mean, my favorite game of last year was Silent Hill 2 Remake, so it's not like I never play scary stuff, I'm not afraid to tell you that this level had some stuff that caught me off guard. There's really only one more mildly scary part in this level, because now we're entering the section of Tetsuo's games where I really felt the silliness come through more than anything. And this sort of culmination of several disparate elements like the Alice in Wonderland rabbits talking to you, the ski resort movie set, the cosplayers, the Power Rangers, how it feels like everyone and everything is just playing this big joke on you, laughing at you and trying to mess with your head. It all started to remind me of something I really hadn't seen since like Time Splitters 2. In that game, you fight across several different time periods, so you never know what's going to happen next. And as you progress through the story mode, you'll unlock the ability to play as aliens and monkeys and zombies and all sorts of things in the multiplayer modes. The crazy thing about this level, in contrast to pretty much everything else in Red Steel, is that it's such a tonal clash, and even if it's a little too silly for your taste, you have to respect the cojones Ubisoft had to do something as outlandish as this because the game is so grounded otherwise. And the best part is, I haven't even gotten to the wackiest, most Time Splitters-like part yet. Anyways, you take out the green warrior and eventually a purple one as well. Go down some more hallways, and the rabbit posted here warns you that you're almost late for a train that you're apparently trying to catch.
Now we are going on a little trip to the Arctic.
At the end of the hallway, you'll see a cosplayer run by, but make sure you shoot that lizard to your left first before you chase them because that is definitely not a mannequin. Now, we get into another gunfight in the snowy kids show set, find a key in an igloo, which is fitting, and make our way through the next door. This must be the train that we were trying to catch. This space-themed tunnel sort of reminds me of that scene in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And by the way, watch out for the explosives, they got me the first time around. Once you make it through and stop just short of the place where Icarus died too close to the sun, you can exit right and the rabbit talks to you about monsters for some reason.
I grew up watching them.
It all starts to make a little more sense as this next area is this Jurassic Park sort of set with these massive dinosaur eggs, and I'll go ahead and tell you now that this is one of the hardest areas in the entire game in my opinion. If you shoot these eggs, as you may have guessed, armed men in dinosaur suits run out. Very similar to the dinosaur men in Time Splitters, right? It's so dreary, swampy, and foggy here, and their green suits blend in really well with the background, so it's very easy to get ganged up on or flanked and die. This section admittedly took me several tries, but that's partially because I just kept trying to kill everyone with my sword. Anyways, once you get some of the guys out of the way, hopefully you'll be lucky enough to find an egg that contains a mannequin, and that mannequin has a key. So then you'll make your way through another space-themed room, and you'll have your final fight in the center of the universe against some more Super Sentai warriors. Upon defeating both of them, you'll finally meet Tetsuo, who congratulates you for playing his game so well and making it further than anyone else, implying that many people have died here, and he agrees to relinquish control of the games district back to the Yakuza clan that you've been helping. Overall, Red Steel was not the landmark Wii first-person shooter that Ubisoft was hoping it would be. But it's not because the game wasn't ambitious. Looking at early development footage for Red Steel, which was clearly built on a computer and not on the Wii, it was obvious that Ubisoft was hoping their launch title for the then codenamed Revolution would change the face of FPSs forever. But I don't think Ubisoft was aware of how relatively underpowered Nintendo's console was. Despite this, Red Steel has an aesthetic that can be quite gorgeous at times. Tons of destructible environmental elements, some really cool ideas, a soundtrack composed by Tom Salta that was way better than it had any right to be, and once you learn to look past the issues this game has with its dead zone, an issue future Wii FPSs would fix, there's a lot of fun that can be had with this game. I think that had Red Steel released on a more powerful platform at the time, like the Xbox 360 or PS3, it would have been a much better game that maybe would have received sequels more in line with its fairly intriguing yet grounded setting. While Red Steel 2 is rightfully considered an absolute gem on the Wii that improves upon the original in every way, it's also a completely different game only similar to the original Red Steel by name alone. And to be honest with you, I think I prefer the world of the original Red Steel overall. Unfortunately, I don't think this franchise will ever come back, but if Ubisoft one day said that they were going to try to reimagine Red Steel and do things with the game in the way that they originally wanted to all of those years ago, I'd be all in. No, Red Steel is no Halo or Doom. It wasn't the revolution that it hoped it would be for Nintendo's Revolution console. It has its issues, but it's a fun game, and sometimes that's all you need. If you're still here, thanks so much for watching, and as always, stay humble.